Hey everybody. Hey everybody, we're in YouTube land and we are live with JT Habersaat. JT, welcome.
Hello. Thanks.
JT, comic, living in Austin. Me and JT do the road together. We're about to go up to
Santa Cruz
at DNA's Comedy Lab.
DNA's Comedy Lab Friday night. 2 shows.
2 shows, 7 and 9:30. DNA's Comedy Lab.
Santa Clarita tomorrow.
Oh, we do JR's.
I'm glad you remember that. Yes.
Mimi's Cafe.
Mimi's Cafe. They just moved there, I guess. JR's Comedy Club.
Yeah. So Santa Clarita, we're going to be Mimi's Cafe. And then
Saturday
we Santa Cruz,
San Francisco,
and then we go to San Francisco.
Yeah.
And our buddy and cohort Steve Lally.
Hi everybody. I performed at Dave Carter's Comedy Roast in the Valley at the Spring.
Did you?
coming out with both barrels.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
What is that, Dave Carter?
It was a Dave Carter. He's an old time comic.
Old time,
Yeah.
meaning is he devastated
like-
by the business?
Yes.
Oh man.
He filled a room in Van Nuys for his birthday.
He did.
Oh, well,
he had
the first birthday party.
45 comics show up to roast him.
Wow.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Did
Actually,
he know that was happening, or did they just show up and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna"?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
No, he knew it was happening.
I just show up
Is
to
my
watch.
guess.
Hate you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's really kind of cool. Actually,
Thanks, Eddie.
That's why you're both wearing sunglasses.
What you didn't? I thought you were putting on your sunglasses.
I was, but then I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
I don't know.
Silly.
Maybe we
Plus,
should.
you guys have the Blues Brothers sunglasses. I
Yeah,
have like
totally.
Texas sunglasses.
I think I'll
The
leave
Jews
mine on.
brothers.
See, quick, write that down.
So me and JT are touring. Steven, you're staying back here in LA.
Involuntarily.
Right now, this will lead right to where we. And by the way, hello everybody.
Hello.
And if you're tuning in for the first time, fuck you. So Steve, we wanted to talk about the road a little bit, you know, or a lot of it. I mean, me and JT, and we never. I don't think I've ever talked about this on air. But the last tour we did wound up in Dallas, Fort Worth. And we wound up,
Great show.
it was a great show.
Main at Southside.
We wound up in a Motel 6. Did I
Against
tell you
our
this?
will.
Why?
All right, so
Yeah, you said it.
You're setting this. You set everything up, right?
yes,
You're
but I run point for all the shows, and I route all the
Yeah,
shows. And I
okay.
kind of road manage. And,
Or else I wouldn't be going anywhere.
right.
well, it's been great. It's been overall good, right?
Yes.
Yes. And the last show was really good. We did this place, Main at Southside.
It's been fun. It really has been.
Yeah. And there's a promoter there, Brian Breckenridge, who's a comic. And for that night, like all the hotels we stayed in were pretty exceptionally great
They
the
were
whole
good.
way. And
I liked our Kansas hotel.
that was really nice. There's snow, but we'll get.
I love hotels. Do you love? I love staying where someone else does everything, and they're also like there's a flavor, like the one in Kansas. In
Oklahoma
Kansas.
City, we stayed in a museum. You remember that art museum they
was
put us in?
crazy.
It was literally a museum. So people were walking through the the paintings and whatnot, and your room is just like there.
That's bizarre.
It was weird, but it was awesome.
It sounds
But
awesome.
it was decent art, right?
That's what matters. Were they
Very
decent people?
subjective.
Were they
No, decent art.
Decent art.
How were the people
For
looking?
Oklahoma City, it was fucking exceptional art.
Right. Right.
But anyway, so it was the last show of tour. Eddie had to fly out super early. It's a
Super
Monday
early.
night, and my buddy Brian, who's putting on the show, they didn't give him a budget for a hotel, so out of pocket, because he's a working comic, he got us rooms at the Motel 6. And I was like, I know he paid for it. I'm not going to argue. I'm happy to have the rooms. We'll sleep for a few hours, and we're done. Whatever.
But immediately, like walking into the place and then walking into the room.
It was like The Wire.
like fluorescent lights.
Well, fluorescent light, that was the least of my worries. We got in there. It was like a 6-hour ride because coming from Wichita, so we're beat from the road. We check into the hotel, and there's like this weird open air. Somebody had a deal with the hotel to do something illicit. Like, there was just sketchy people everywhere in the check-in room. Like there was like 6 looked like homeless derelicts with a dog while we're waiting to check in.
right.
And we're looking over our shoulder going, what the hell is going on?
Right.
It was just...
And by homeless derelicts, we mean the average man or woman in the United States. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was instantly sketchy. And we're like, well...
Right. We were amongst the working class. Go ahead.
The great unwashed.
So,
The great unwashed.
yes. And so we do the show. The show is great. End on a high note. We take Eddie back, check him in.
Right. I find
room.
out right before the show that I have to change my flight
Yep.
and go. I mean, it was a good thing. I had
TV
to
thing.
be on Schooled, the new Brian Callen spinoff on the Goldbergs. But all of a sudden, I'm going from like a leisurely afternoon flight to
4 a.m.
Blood eye.
Spirit Airlines, 4:30 in the morning.
We're talking Spirit Airlines.
Don't you dare miss it.
So go ahead.
Yeah. So we do the show. Show's great. It's the last night of tour, so a good friend of mine is there because I live in Austin, Texas, so I have buddies up that way. So they're like, we're going to go out drinking afterwards. Cool. Take Eddie back. He's got to get up real early. Check him in. We say goodbye. I go out drinking. I come back at like, I checked the next day, my Uber receipt and stuff. I get home at 2:45 in the morning, all right? Eddie has to, I know he's had to set his alarm. He leaves at 3:30 in the morning. Okay, this is important for a reason. I check in to my room, lock the door, go to bed. I'm in bed just fucking around on my phone. And I hear bang, 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 bang. Like quick succession. I'm like, those are gunshots. Somebody who grew up in New York, those are gunshots. And I was like, well, it sounded somewhere on this block because Fort Worth is large and things echo. And I'm like, those were definitely gunshots. Right. Mm-hmm. It wasn't on this hallway. Like it was from outside somewhere. And it's 3:30 in the morning. What am I going to go investigate? Like,
Right.
okay.
Cut to me.
So I go to sleep.
I have to.
Oh, the panic attack is beginning.
No.
Oh,
Cut to
no, it
me.
gets amazing.
I don't hear anything. I have to wake up though at 4 a.m. to get the fuck to the airport. Actually, about 3:45.
3:45.
So just check this out. I'm so fucking at it. Like I'm in that. Oh God, it's fucking 3:45,
Like 2.5 hours
and
of
I'm
sleep.
cold and. Oh my God. And I just get my shit together and I go out into I open my door and the first thing I see is a woman in the hall at 4 a.m. and she goes, they're not going to let you out, you know. I go, what are you talking? I go,
Like a phantom.
I go, what are you talking about? She goes, someone was murdered. The cops aren't going to let you leave. And I go, my first thing is not giving a shit that someone was murdered.
I ain't got time for this murder.
I was just like, I have a flight. I'm gone schooled. An ABC spinoff of the Goldbergs.
Yep.
And I was pissed because I had to pay for that flight myself. And I had to cancel a flight.
Yeah.
I'm thinking I'm going to lose and I'm not going to make.
Not going to make, but you're.
I'm not going to because I had to be on that flight to make the LA fucking whatever and the LA shoot. And so I just walk out the door.
This is what kills me.
Down at the front desk.
Yelled at my detectives.
A woman is. I go, what's going on to the woman? And she just looks at me and goes, like she's shell shocked.
Yeah.
And I go,
Craig
fuck
got
this.
his.
I got my roller, and I go out, and there's these blaring lights and police tape, and I kept walking.
I had this image of you with your rollerblade through like
Yes.
blood.
Yeah, well, there was no blood, but I keep walking, and the cops are like, excuse me. I can't hear what the fuck. They're like, excuse me, sir.
Active
Excuse me,
crime
sir.
scene.
Yeah, something like that. And finally, and I just keep going because I go, I got to get the fuck out. I had already called an Uber. And I
This
told,
is also funny.
I told the guy, look, there's been a crime.
I gotta get out of here fast.
Cancel.
No, check this
That's
out.
it. To the airport.
No, check
Step
this.
on it.
Check this out. Check this out. So anyway, let me tell you, the Uber driver's another hilarious thing, but I'm walking, and so the cop goes, so a cop finally comes right up to me. He goes, sir, you're in a crime scene. I go, okay. I go,
My bad.
I go, sorry, I have to get to the airport. And they let me go.
Thank God.
Okay, so they let me leave. But
You're white, of course.
what was hilarious is I tell the Uber driver the whole thing. He's a young dude. And
Is he like side-eyeing you?
he starts thinking, I'm fleeing the scene. And
Did you have those glasses? I'm just wondering if you were.
These glasses, your fedora,
I did have
like
a little
cigar,
fedora.
maybe a little cigar.
trench coat.
I look like Walter White a little bit because I had on a little nice fedora, that Walter White type of fedora in Breaking Bad. Anyway, so I'm telling him, yeah, man, there was a murder. I hear someone got murdered. And he goes, really? He goes, I go, yeah, and the cops are, they have a crime. And he goes, yeah, I know, there's a crime scene. He goes, how did you get out? And I go, I just walked out. And he goes, they let you go? And he starts asking me a ton of questions. And he pulls into a 7-Eleven or something, and he starts Googling, and he goes, I just want to see what's going on. He wouldn't let me, he wouldn't take me to the airport until he was convinced
It wasn't you.
it wasn't me, and he did all kinds of research. So that was our last night of the tour.
Yeah. Well, so then
It ended in murder.
It ended in murder. You made it to L.A. You made it to the shoot.
Everything went okay.
I wake up at 8 a.m. I'm sleeping through all this. I wake up at 8 a.m. and I have multiple texts from you. My phone's going off, and the first said, dude, someone was murdered last night. I am not fucking around.
Yeah.
They won't let me leave. And then cue a long time later, made it to LA, talk soon. And I was like, my brain, as it's waking up, was like, murdered? That's what the fuck I heard. Okay. So I immediately brush my teeth, grab everything. I'm leaving.
And what happened when you were leaving?
So I'm going out. There's tape and stuff. I'm like, I heard someone get shot to death. That's what that was. But also I'm checking, it's flipping me out. So I'm checking the times. I'm like, I got there at 2:45. Person was murdered at 3:10.
You just missed it.
But you just missed it on like 30 minutes on the other end, because it was in the parking lot where this motherfucker got his.
Oh, it was right in the park.
It was right in the parking. So either one of us could have been
that's
shot.
why they were, yeah.
And so you sent me the news story that your Uber driver found.
Right.
And so I'm checking out because the dude's there. I'm giving him my keys, and he goes, "So how was your stay?" I was like, could have done with less murder.
Yeah,
apparently
it was good except the murder.
A little less murder on that. Yelp
I love
review.
the orange juice.
I got the fuck out. I was out of there by 8:05. Got your text at 8.
Holy shit!
Drove straight home. So yeah,
you didn't stay for the little Continental.
I didn't stick around
because they had. I mean, it's not much. They had like a box of Cheerios. And a waffle iron.
A
waffle iron.
A Motel 6? That's pretty. That's a lot for Motel 6.
Well, now it's in our contract. No Motel 6.
JT now caps. He writes out all the contracts.
Nope. I'm serious about that shit.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. It was weird. I felt real weird for the day. I'm like, I heard someone get killed. Like,
yeah.
And how close we were to possibly.
I was like that.
And then I was like, am I a suspect? Because it was 10 minutes before I got home.
Eddie was a suspect.
Yeah, well, you have bloody wheels on your rollerboard now.
But it was really, to me, what was wild about that is that it came right at the end of
last
the
night.
And
of
I
tour.
thought it was some kind of like divine fucking.
The funniest thing about this whole thing
is
before you started the first tour.
Yeah, because this is like 2 or 3 tours in.
I think we finished a podcast, and Eddie goes, "Hey, Stevie, can you go online and look at my dates?
Yeah.
Do you think I'm gonna die?"
I was nervous about all the shows.
Right.
Well,
just
you were
physically like.
So were you nervous about the
physical?
The physical.
Yeah. Well, when I booked, because I booked like a maniac, but also I took that into account. I knew I was going to take care of you and make sure.
Yeah, you did.
My goal was not to have you die on the first couple tours we do together.
So then he comes
That's
back.
That's not good for me.
Or then we talk on the phone. He comes back, and I wrote. What did I say to you? Do you remember what I said? I said, dude, I think you're going to have a fucking ball.
Oh, that's right.
I think you're going to be acting out at 60 the dream of a 25-year-old.
Well, that's the glory part of the road. For all the down parts and the ball busting that can go with it. If you do it long enough, it becomes what you want to do when you started out as a comic, theoretically. What I wanted to do, which is, different place every night. The gypsy
Well, that's what JT
life.
was talking about, like that when a club gives you a weekend, you're in one fucking place for 3 days or whatever it is.
And even if it's great, I'm not knocking it because sometimes that's great. But even when it's great, it by the end of it, it becomes a punch the clock vibe, in that it's just like By the late show Saturday, it's like And it's usually in a strip mall or something. I don't know. And you see nothing but maybe you go to a museum or something.
Whereas bopping from city to city is kind of cool.
Even if it's bad, that you're gone the next day. So who cares? And you still get a good story.
We
out
didn't
of
have one bad show.
No. We had one that
we had one that wasn't that attended.
bad.
It wasn't bad.
That was
but
the market.
Where was it? Where was that one?
Tulsa?
Oklahoma.
It was just okay.
Yeah, the people
Well,
that were there were
wasn't
over
that
the
many-
moon.
Yeah.
But it was fucking 30 people on a Friday night. It's like, well, if you only get 30 people on a Friday, then we're not coming back here. But they treated us really good, and the people that were there were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And we had a good time, just,
Yeah.
whatever. So if that's the definition of bad, then fine. Sign me up.
Was that the place? Was that the venue where they put us up in the Art Hotel?
It was a different kind of artsy hotel. No, the Art Hotel was Oklahoma City, which was great. Oklahoma City was the one.
That was fun.
That was really nice. That's
Yeah.
I forget the name of the room. Brad Chad Porter booked that one. Yeah. So I did no bad shows. I mean,
Right.
And some it blew my mind that he had never been to New Orleans to visit, much less do a
that's
show.
Right.
So
Have you
got to
been?
see? I have been through, but I haven't been
Stayed.
or performed. I haven't done that either.
They were good.
Man, it was beyond sold out.
Dragon's Den.
Dragon's Den. Vincent Zambon. Great show.
I've done Biloxi. I've done
Biloxi?
I've never done Biloxi. Where-
Biloxi. You know, it's casinos.
Okay.
So it was a casino gig.
Yeah.
And
that's tough.
Slidell, Louisiana. I did a gig, a gig in a bar with dartboards.
Yeah.
Lots of dartboards and two entrances to the bar at different ends, and you're kind of like the bar's like a hallway, and you're in the peak of the hallway right next to the pool table. That kind of gig.
I did one of those in Victoria, Texas, and a riot broke out in the middle of my set. Like it was one of these. It was the performance space was here, and there was a see-through area where the bar was, right? So you could see through, but the bar was separated so people could talk in the bar area and not interfere with the show. And so I'm 15 minutes in, and I see this woman go to this guy and literally take a beer bottle and go smash like the Wild West. Smashed. It was like his ex, her ex or something.
A woman smashed
a beer bottle over a dude's head, which I presume was like her ex, whatever, who was there with his new girlfriend. New girlfriend, open hand punches the woman. It turns into like a Bugs Bunny like arms and just madness.
I hope.
As you were on stage?
As I'm on stage.
I hope as a comic.
Did you get paid?
No. I hope as a comic you didn't miss a beat.
Well, here's
with
what
your material.
No, I did crowd work.
Ma'am, what's your beef? What's your beef?
What do you do for work? It's so they're just.
Where did you learn to fight?
It's
What do you do for work?
fucking tombstone happening in there, and it rolls into the performance area because people in the performance area are still like, "What's this riffraff?" But I can see it on stage through the window.
Yeah.
and it's literally a dozen men and women punching each other and just madness. Cops come running in after like this fight's for 10 minutes. You can't. It's like an old
People getting hurt?
Well, bottle over the head, but still, hey, this is West Texas, so it's a different kind of tough. Like
it's a melee.
It was a melee, and no one.
Yeah.
They were like brushing it off, like stuntmen or something.
This is a normal Thursday night.
Right. So who knows?
West Texas.
I'm here for one day, and so my cohorts on tour are standing up at a table like a cartoon woman that saw a mouse. They're just like, "Oh my God, what's happening?" Trying to stay out of this, and the cops come running in and start arresting people and drag everyone out. And I just get off the stage and I'm standing by the merch just watching this shit unfold. And then the promoter comes up and he's like, "So, you want to go back up and keep?" I was like, "Absolutely not, dude. The show is done. Like that is it."
You want to go back up? How do you come out of that? What would because that's probably happened.
So fighting's weird, right?
Yeah. So fighting's weird.
Fighting's weird.
Anyway, where was I, folks? Oh yes. Dogs are the most loving creatures.
Right. So Tinder. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that was crazy. Louisiana has its own flavor. Well, we did Baton Rouge.
We did.
That's supposedly
New
a
Orleans.
great town. Baton
We
Rouge.
did Baton Rouge.
It's a weird town. It was fun, but it was this big ass room.
What was it? It was a poet something.
The Dead Poet. And remember that our green room was this little hallway with asbestos falling down on us.
That was that place?
Yeah, because it was like, the green room's behind the stage, except it wasn't a room. It was a hallway that led to the DJ booth, and there's just insulation hanging down, and we're in this corridor, just like this, with a ladder.
Most of these places, just to clarify, for the laymen out there who don't understand,
That's
these
you,
places,
folks.
Yeah, you laymen.
you laymen,
Lay women and
lay
men.
women. lame people.
Yeah.
These do not sound like comedy venues. These sound like
It's a mix. It's a mix. Because when I first started, I ran this thing, the Altercation Punk Comedy Tour, and we specifically only did rock clubs to try and we wanted to build our own brand and surpass
the bullshit right.
of bringer rooms and whatever, you know? And so I'm very much immersed in that world. But what I've gotten to now is that, especially because we do one-nighters, so if you're in a city every night, sometimes you got to take what's available and makes the most sense. But I found that the room doesn't matter so much, and sometimes rock rooms are more fun, honestly, have more character. But if you can find the comedy-specific night of the month or the comedy promoter that also does shows occasionally there, then it's fine. If it's just a rock room you're doing on your own and people don't know there's comedy, you're doomed.
Right. You're great because you fucking have vetted these places for 90% of them.
I've been touring for fucking 10 years, so it's like the ones that are bullshit, I just don't work with them again.
Right.
But Baton Rouge... even when it's good, there's a dice roll,
see,
man.
The Dead Poet sounds like that. The title of that room sounds cool.
Right.
It is cool. It was all like H.P. Lovecraft stuff and Edgar
that
Allan
place.
Poe.
That's your kind of place.
Yeah, but that place, like in front of the stage, there were the people
Seats
to
of comedy
see the
fans.
show, and then it was a big place.
It was real big.
And then there was a long bar going that way, and people were getting drunk.
It's just
And they were
sorority girls
loud
not
and
knowing.
right.
They were loud. They didn't give a shit. And so it was
a wireless
mic. So my first thing was I came off the stage. And I was like, what the fuck?
That's fucking
Oh, it
awesome.
was amazing.
I just
That's
went right
fucking
up to them.
awesome.
So great.
I was like, why? I'm a genius, you fucking idiots. And
was
you're
so
talking about what? I was like, yeah.
Well,
They were drunk.
You had me on the floor because you ran up to. It was very much a sorority girls thing, And the dudes there were enjoying the show. Afterwards, I had guys who were like, "We left our dates. You guys were awesome." They were being so rude. They just left the women to go away. And
That's pretty rare.
It was great.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
went up to the head queen bee of like the obnoxiousness, and you said, "You're very beautiful."
That's right. She was really cute.
But only on the outside. Inside, you're a fucking horror show.
That's right.
And I was on the edge of the end of the bar, and I fucking fell off the stool laughing so hard because you could see her world just shatter because she was on point. But the whole room was looking at her. It's like,
Yeah.
but inside, you're a fucking horror show.
Right.
Oh, it killed me.
Yeah.
And
that probably brought the fucking room down too.
it
when-
totally did, and it kind of got them to shut up. But it's one of those.
Everybody
things,
was afraid of me after that.
Yeah.
There's a new sheriff and his name
Oi!
Eddie Pepitone.
This guy from Brooklyn, he don't take no prisoners.
Like the scene in 48 Hours with
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy.
I don't remember that.
You're gonna get death threats for using that accent as a Louisiana.
Oh, really?
accent.
Right. Oh, right. Right. They have a very specific Cajun.
It's a Cajun-y thing, yeah. But anyway, so that was, even I don't. It was a bit of work, that show, but it wasn't not fun.
Right.
And we were staying with your buddy, and so I said,
yeah.
you go. I'll stick
My
around.
buddy Dave.
Dave rules. But I said I'll stick around and talk to the, hang with the locals a little bit, and you escape in the car, and I'll meet you back at the crash pad. And I had a coyote chew my leg off. They just wanted to talk comedy for an hour. It was cool.
yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah, that's another thing, by the way. Meeting
New fans, dude.
meeting fans on the road is awesome.
Yep.
It's
This
just
is-
Well, they're so excited because you've never been there.
But this
right.
was
and they're very grateful.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This was your first in your career. You said to me, correct me again, that this was your first real road experience, like the real.
That makes me so happy. I mean,
Yeah, more or less like real road experience in the sense of going to places that were outside my comfort zone, like New York, Chicago,
right,
L.A.,
San Francisco.
Yeah.
well, also the stretch. I mean, the shortest run we did, I think, was 11 days. And so with a show every night.
That's right.
We had one night off here and there.
We had a night off in Shreveport. That was
This is a good
bizarre.
story.
What was that? What would you do?
What was that
Did you go to
like?
the mall?
The mall.
We were in a casino.
Yeah, we
We stayed in. This is our night off.
Well, it was a long drive, so it was
That's
a
right.
drive day.
We hit a halfway point on the drive. This was a long one.
Yeah, it was a halfway point drive day, so it was a night off by necessity, and it was a Monday. So he booked us in this, what I thought, I was like, oh, let's do a nice place. It's like, oh, it's because there's casinos up there. I'm like, we'll stay at a nice casino.
Dude,
it had a hot tub in each room. I'm like, yeah, and it's only $70 a night. Sure.
Oh, no
$70.
suspicion.
We park. It's like a Sam's Town or something. It was a big, legit place. But what a shithole Shreveport is. We're just driving. There's like nothing around. And so we walk in and there's no one there. It's a ghost town.
There's no one in that fucking casino.
No, 0 people. Like not sparsely attended.
It's huge. It's like it's
The Shining.
literally. It's literally like it seems like a haunted place
By sad ghosts,
Yeah.
desperate ghosts. But we're walking in,
and that was the vibe.
and it's kind of rainy, and we're walking in, and there's this kind of attractive blonde woman walking towards us.
And what'd she do? Was she a hooker?
Well, she's and she walks by and says, "Hey, gentlemen, how's it going?" Like very friendly. And I was like, "Hey, how are you?" And Eddie goes, "Wow, I guess we still got it." I said, "That was a prostitute." That was definitely a hooker.
And she came and there was nobody at the
Nobody.
She
You
showed
were
up.
the only two
We were the
guys.
only
I
two.
think.
walking
I
out.
think what happens
Our
is
animal magnetism brought her right to us.
No, I think what goes on in that place is that the front desk person, where you check in, has a buzzer underneath,
To
and
tell
they
the
buzz
hooker.
the prostitute
Right.
saying, "Here, two
Here's a
gentlemen."
couple
Two more.
Johns.
Wake them up. They're sleeping
Yeah,
on
yeah.
a futon. So we walk in, and it's almost Christmas time, so there's nothing sadder.
Was
than
it almost Christmas?
Yes, you don't remember the saddest Christmas tree? There's like
yeah.
all this. Oh, and there's no. It's like
What about people working at the casino? What about
ghosts? They all look like
Oh, my God.
Lloyd from The Shining. It
Here's
was-
a really funny moment. And this happened a couple places.
Dinner?
Yeah, I go up to like this little shithole
Cafeteria
eateria.
type of thing?
Yeah, cafeteria. And I go, "Hi, I'm vegan." And
Oh my God!
And the guy goes, "I'm Bob. What do you want?" And I go, No, I'm a vegan." And he goes, "All right." And I go, "What do you have that's vegan?" He goes, "Well, we got shrimp."
Shrimp.
They had fucking nothing for me
Yeah,
to
they're
eat.
like, "Do you have any vegetables?"
So
And
we
she went,
found a fucking
"A
Italian.
salad." We got
It
a
was
salad.
hilarious though because we found a good Italian place.
But even that was weird.
Oh, very.
We go in to get food to go, and the dude, the maitre d' or whatever, they all look like they're on a ghost ship. Like they're all these
Yeah.
old timey suits, and there's no one. There's like one other person in there, and we're just waiting for this food to be made. It was so awkward and bizarre, and the streets are empty.
Yeah.
And so finally, we get back and just call it a night. And so now I'm in this room. I'm like, well, I want to use this hot tub, but everything in me is going, I should not use this hot tub, but I did. And then
And that was okay.
it was all right. I didn't catch anything. And then I got bored though, because I had driven all
Oh,
day.
this guy is too much.
I got bored, and when I get bored, I'm like, well, I need an adventure. It's our one night off.
I
should
just
go do
watch
something.
shit on Netflix.
Yeah,
I
he's-
could care less. I
He's
love
done.
doing that.
Yeah, he's watching Peaky Blinders.
Right.
And so I'm like, what's around? Shreveport Strip Club 5 miles away. That sounds like something I'll get a story out of. So
Oh, that's right.
I Ubered there, and instant story. It's strangely, I guess, from what the ladies working there were telling me, it's the only strip club for miles because of weird Louisiana ordinances or
Zoning
whatever.
laws or
zoning laws
something.
or whatever. So women,
Yeah,
will
you know
travel.
zoning laws, right? By the way, the whole
Let's
town
just talk
is,
about zoning laws. For
By the
a
way,
minute.
the whole
know.
town is surrounded. Just picture this too. It's kind of there's
Oil
refineries.
fields.
It's
Yeah. It's
oil.
Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No, it's more like Batman villains were born here.
Right.
It's just like Mad Max wasteland. Like a lot of just pipes sticking up everywhere and just not good. A dirty river. And so I go in, and there's this woman on stage that's very tattooed up. I'm like, oh, right on. So I was like, holy shit.
Oh, right on.
Oh, right on. No, I'm into that. Sure. Big fan. So I go over and I go to tip her money, and I was like, that's fucking amazing. Is that a Charles Darwin tattoo on your leg? She had like this Charles Darwin tattoo in the middle of nowhere.
His face?
Yeah,
Darwin's-
his face with the beard and everything. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa.
The fucking master. He told us how we evolved. Darwin. He went to the Galapagos. This is just-
You people who don't know are getting an education from a
Right.
stripper's leg. here.
Layman's and women's. So I go, that's amazing. That's a Charles Darwin tattoo. And she looks down and she goes, what's a Charles Darwin? That's my dead grandpappy. said, what's a Charles Darwin? I said, well, he was a very great man, and you just disproved his entire fucking theory.
I hope you say
with
that
one
on stage.
statement.
I hope
well,
you
that's
use
the
this on
story I got.
stage.
That's the story. I'm like, that
You,
paid
and you
for the whole
started
night.
doing that right away.
Well, I'm like, yeah, it's a true life story, and it's fucking hilarious to
That
me.
was
So
his.
now it's a
That was her
stage bit.
grandpappy.
That was my payoff for the night. I'm like, thank God I didn't stay in that haunted hot tub because I never would have gotten that story.
JT storyteller on stage. Storyteller.
I do a lot of story stuff.
Yeah. So that was wild.
Yeah.
That New Orleans.
That was our one night off.
Oh God, that was a blown
We
night
drove
off.
through. For you, maybe.
That's true.
He got a big
I got
laugh.
a great story
Yeah,
and a
he got
good
big
fucking
laugh.
bit out of it. And then we went to Wichita, Kansas in the snow.
That was kind of cool.
It was great. Super fun. What a great Wichita on a Sunday.
Wichita on a Sunday.
On paper, it
what
sounds
was
like
the
not a
name
gig
of the
you might
place?
want.
What was the name of the place?
Barleycorns.
Barleycorns. And
Megan Welch, fantastic comic out of there, brought us up. And so
packed. It was a
great.
love fest. It was a love fest. And
sold out on a Sunday night
I also met
in the snow.
I saw pictures of this stuff on social media.
Oh right, I was
great.
putting a lot of.
Shows
Did
are
I do a
great.
good job with the
You
social
did a
media?
great. You killed it on social media, Eddie.
I feel
Instagram
so good about
on
that.
Instagram.
You're an influencer.
You got a standing ovation on Instagram.
Hey, you
felt
got
like-
3 of those though.
I felt like such a narcissist posting all of this, like standing ovation in wherever
but if it's
we
the
were.
truth, fuck it. That's what
Yeah,
that's you know.
yeah. Got a string of them.
Yep.
I was on a roll with that at the end.
And so, yeah, I mean, we roll into Kansas, and it was a drive to get there. But basically, the promoter and the comic Megan Welch who brought us out, I knew would do a good job, and they were so excited. People were, I'm like, it's snowing. We walked because we didn't want to drive in it. We walked from the hotel to the venue a few blocks in the snow.
It was fucking yeah. And when we left,
And
it
it
was
was
snowing. It was very
fucking
pretty
packed.
though, and it was
pretty
like
for you. I'm gonna drive it.
I know you did.
Yeah, you didn't have to drive.
No,
No,
I handle all
man.
that.
Thank God.
It's all you this week, motherfucker.
We're driving up to Santa. I googled it. It's a 5-hour.
Yeah.
Have you driven up there?
No. So my best friend, the one
Yeah.
guy, when I was in college and graduating high school, I had one friend. I actually graduated high school in Florida,
Whereabouts?
Tampa, Florida.
Oh, I'm taping my new special in Gainesville in April.
I have a funny road story from
Okay,
Gainesville.
cool.
My sister lives there, and I get booked there every now and again through like the Funny Business Agency.
Oh,
or
yeah,
one of
yeah.
those,
They
you
rep me
know.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I did a gig with them some years before we were doing the podcast together. Maybe before we met.
Yeah,
I don't know,
Alicia?
it was like 20. Yeah, it was like 2016 or something like that. And they put me up. They booked me near the campus, and they put me up in this Fleabag motel. First, I was supposed to stay in a condo.
This
And
is
when
Gainesville
when
or
I got,
Tampa?
and this is Gainesville. When I got into Gainesville,
The comedy
they told
condo?
me the condo's under construction. You can't stay there.
Underwater.
So we got you a motel room. Don't worry. Oh no, they hadn't gotten me a motel room. They said we'll call up and get you a motel room now.
Okay.
So they sent me to this motel, and I dropped all my stuff. and
Ted Bundy slept
I
here.
laid down on the fucking the bed, and I started to drift off, and I just felt like little bit, and I flew out of the fucking bed.
Yeah.
I took all my clothes off.
There
I
were rats.
jumped
What did I miss? Something?
bed bugs.
Bed bugs.
So and
was
I
full
was
of rats.
as I'm dozing off from my trip, my long drive or whatever, and I'm jumped in the hot shower,
Yeah.
washed myself everything with
dude.
hot water, got my shit, jumped in my car. Thank God, my sister lives in Gainesville,
Mm-hmm.
so I just called my sister. I said, I'm gonna have to stay with you because
Right.
I can't stay, and this isn't good.
That's brutal.
And the club gave me the money for the hotel.
Oh, that's
back.
good.
So that was cool.
Was that pianos you did out there?
It was a piano bar.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was
Rockies?
called Rockies.
Yeah.
Oh, you know it.
He really knows his stuff.
Yeah.
There's a big festival called
Yeah.
the Fest in Gainesville every November, and I headlined the comedy in that back in November. And the venue you use for it is Rockies.
And that
Here's
was
the
a
thing.
rough. That wasn't an easy gig.
Their crowds there are notoriously kind of weird.
Are they?
It was a little weird.
Rockies. It's kind of a piano bar, so it's piano bar crowd.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I don't.
Well, it was also.
I can't imagine in Gainesville the piano bar.
They had the other thing is and I don't know how comedy has changed because I haven't been in the road scene.
Yeah.
But in the old days, when I was in my 20s and I would tour, there was a host, and the host would warm up the fucking crowd. And now there's a showcase of comics who are doing their 3-4 minutes for Comedy Central. There
that
wasn't
sounds real bad.
There wasn't a host, so it was like a litany of boring, bad amateur comics, and then me. And I'm going on,
and you were headlining
and I was
after
headlining.
that?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
And I was just like, I just got to get through the 45 minutes,
That's
and that was my whole. It was I got.
Did you get through it?
Oh yeah, I got through it, and people seemed to enjoy it, and they bought my DVDs, and but it was not.
that makes me so angry.
It doesn't remind me. The memory isn't a pleasant like. I want to go back to
mechanics
this.
of a show are so important and on theory so fucking easy. But I never am ceased to. I hear stories like that all the time, where it's like, oh yeah, we put 11 openers for you. Like, no, what? No, it's not good for anybody.
Well, that's the stuff that you have vetted.
Well, that's why, right?
That's why I'm a psychopath about details with it. I'm like,
Right.
nope.
He's a detail
That's
guy.
why I was saying the gratitude thing.
Yeah.
And I know you're Eddie Pepitone. You deserve good, but
the way you said that.
but
Look.
you don't realize how rare it is to have someone care about your tour like that. You know, just
well,
'cause-
you've been super gracious in expressing gratitude for anything.
Yeah.
I think it's been working great.
It's
I'm
been
having a
good,
blast.
It's been a good thing, yeah.
So, but I do.
We're going out doing a bunch too.
We're booked through almost October, which is fucking crazy.
You think I'll die?
Nah, you haven't
And
died
when
yet.
he comes back, he's like a fucking, he's like a guy, he's like Wilford Brimley in Cocoon. He's like
See?
fucking born, like he's.
That's great to hear, because that's great to hear, man. Because that was my worry, was that I was gonna wear him out. He's gonna come back.
Well, we'll see what happens this year, but
Yeah, we'll see. But also, we're keeping it to under 2 weeks, which is reasonable. And
Right.
then, when we finished the last run, I messaged you, I think 5 days later, give you some break. And I was like, so are you either never wanting to leave your house again, or are you already missing it? You said, I'm already missing it. I said, you're a lifer now, motherfucker. I got you.
Yeah.
Because that's it. It gets into your blood, and then it's like,
well, it's a funny thing when you've done, like we did 2 weeks and then home for
Like
2 weeks.
yeah, we took Thanksgiving off and a little bit of a breather. Then we did another 2+ weeks.
And then another 2 weeks. So you kind of get in that,
Well,
I'm ready
also-
to go out on the road.
But you're
or
making
something.
these new connections with these audiences,
Yeah.
and they're only going to grow. I mean, this is
Well,
kinda
that's it.
Yeah.
really
That's it.
exciting.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing is now we're going out in a different time of year. So I'm wondering what that's going to be like.
Well, we're minimizing the great universal I've found through doing all these road dates is that summer is sometimes not great for one-nighters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because summer,
People are out doing other shit. They
That's
don't
it.
want to be inside.
that's it. You know, I made the mistake of doing a club in Minneapolis one summer.
Oh, those people are dying
They're like,
to stay out.
we get to lake for 5
Yeah.
weeks a year, and then it's doom snow, so fuck you.
Right.
So everybody's at the lake. And kids are out of college. They're, people aren't in the comedy mode really in the summer. So I have more fun. It's better to do comedy clubs and bookend, like we're bookending festivals, stuff like that in the summer than to try and do rock clubs and stuff. So, but we're doing Bird City Comedy Festival in Phoenix. You're doing Skankfest Houston.
I'm doing South by next week.
South by Southwest, not next week.
Not next.
In March, early March soon. We're doing the Memphis Comedy Festival. And then we bounce around and do like
Yeah, we're going through Tennessee.
Tennessee. We'll be doing Chattanooga and Nashville. I'm just saying this like a
Have
guess.
you done these states at all?
No, man.
Yeah.
I thought you
don't-
did the South a little
I
bit.
did, and when I was 25, I was a road feature, so I did.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't get the bookers. I moved out here, and then I lost all those that traction. I didn't get that traction back. But yeah, for a whole year, I did tour. I did Birmingham. I did Biloxi. I was saying I did the whole Heffron. I worked for Heffron for like 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Touring those, and I will say this: being a feature and making that shit money, I would have rather been in a week longer. But being a headliner, I could see how the one-nighters are better. But I would have died because you're making $450 a week or something featuring. For
it's a law of averages though too. It's like I mean you need to make money. That's the point. But I also like if a show I think is going to be good and I know I'll sell merch and the crowd will be good and it's a Tuesday or something. Fuck it, I'll take it. As opposed to muscling them for more cash and then making it weird or having them be like or whatever. So you can kind of feel out how it's going to be, and sometimes
He's good with merch too.
yeah, I try to be because there's a real. I don't know how comics tour without a lot of merch at a certain point. Like at my level, it's like it doubles my guarantee.
What do you
sometimes.
sell exactly? T-shirts?
Well, I
or-
have a bunch of records on Stand Up Records, so I
you
put
have
out-
records. You sell records
know.
too, don't you?
Yeah, I didn't bring any.
Well, it's hard to travel with vinyl.
Yeah,
It is, but I have like
It's hard to travel. I want to just.
it's hard
tell
to
these-
travel with vinyl. Is this the camera? It's hard to travel with
Yeah,
vinyl.
It's hard to travel with vinyl.
Yeah.
All right. If you're thinking of getting out on the road,
Don't do it.
don't do it.
But I have like 3 releases on Stand Up Records, and I do T-shirts, and my T-shirts tend to sell really well. And I just started making custom toys, which has been a hobby that kind of
Adult toys or?
well, I made one of Eddie. Oh, you should have brought
Oh,
the
I
toy.
saw that. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
No,
Yeah.
he make. I'm telling you, you
Did
got
you make
another
that?
business.
Yeah, I made it.
He's just got to get children working in a factory, and he'll be good.
Yeah, I came out here to take some meetings.
Outsource some
Outsource.
of that.
Outsource
That's
it.
it. Gotta, well, these
Like our
tariffs are hot.
corporate, like our corporate overlords.
That's
do.
it. But no, I make one-off custom toys, and that was just like a thing I started a few weeks ago for fun, and it's kind of been spiraling. So, but
Meth Yeti,
I made a meth Yeti.
fucking
It
hilarious.
was a Yeti addicted to meth with a burner phone.
You know what a Yeti is?
Huh?
You know what a Yeti is?
A lot of people don't know what
It's a snow beast.
Oh, okay. I thought it was
It's
a
the snowy
someone
Bigfoot.
who.
He had a different.
well,
That's a
do you
yenta.
know what
a
a Yeti is?
yenta. No, I'm kidding. I know what it is. Okay, we're gonna go to a phone call and do an ad now.
Cool.
I just want to say that our producer Matt Rasamoto is he's in desperate shape, and we need people to help him.
Hit the donate
He's
button.
only writing one ad a week now. He used to write 3, right?
He's standing on one ad.
He's down to an ad. So please help Matt Rasamoto. Now, if you want it, now we have one phone call, and that's on you, you fucking lazy fucks who don't call in.
What's the number, Eddie?
It's 424-262-0904. 424-262-0904. Leave him at
Call us.
424-262.
What's that number again?
0904.
What's that number, Bob? It's 424-262. No, it's 424-262-0904. You can also email us. We're not receiving email either. fan mail at peptalkspodcast.com. And donate. We have a donate button, which apparently isn't working.
Oh.
Peptalkspodcast.com. Donate. Hit the donate button. It is working. You fucks just don't donate.
At least call us, people, because we miss you. Don't be afraid.
We don't
to call
expect you to
us.
donate,
There's
even though
nothing-
there have been people who've donated. Liz
not be
Payeto.
working.
Okay, here's our phone call, and here we go. Here we go.
Sorry. Eddie, you're a genius comic, man. I love the way you look at the world and the way you make people get belly laughs from just their pain instead of just those kinds of I see what you did there kind of laughs. Eddie, what keeps you from resenting the audience? You know, just how what sheep we are as humans, man. And I honestly say how you and me, how our politics forms. I think it's all luck, man. Just the random mentors in our life, people that decide to put a hand on our shoulders and show us the right way. That's luck, in my opinion. So, how do you keep yourself from just like screaming at people and just ruining your shows, man? Just how many warning signs? How many fucking
Warnings.
red? I don't even know the word, man. Just like there's so many times that the system's been fucking up with their dick in their hands over and over again, and people are still going along with the programming. What keeps you from doing your art, man? What keeps you like still upbeat? I know you're down, but you get down sometimes, but you bring laughter out of that. What keeps you from just yelling at these people, telling them to wake the fuck up and get out of my face? It's just like I don't get it, man. How can people still be sheep after all these like just blatant signs in their faces, man? I love you, dog.
That was a great call. Awesome. I liked how passionate he was.
He definitely bought.
And
Rage
thank
Against
you.
the
We didn't
Machine
hear
tickets.
his name. But the one thing that was cool was like to become politically aware. I agree with him saying that it was kind of lucky that my dad was a union leader, and my dad, when he was younger, he kind of lost it. But my dad, when he was younger, was a real. When it meant something, a Democrat. He was a real, union Democrat. when Democrat actually was something that worked for the working people a little. That's kind of when it kind of ended. But so he gave me a book called The Rich and the Super Rich by a guy named Ferdinand Lundberg, and I just fucking gravitated to that. And then I had an affair with my college professor who was a big lefty. And I got an education, you know. I got an A in the course. You know, I aced the orals.
Oh, God damn it. I was like, I knew you. Don't do it.
No, but so anyway, I just had those things, and I just went like I always felt like I was reading people who saw through the bullshit. What about you? Definitely have that whole bent too, and I forget how you got it because your family is very conservative, right?
Well, my dad's a Reagan Republican, but my dad, first of all, we always had. My dad was a little bit like your dad. He wasn't a Democrat, but he was a layman intellectual guy. He showed me Kubrick. He showed me 2001.
Oh, okay,
he was showing me art
and comedy. It really does have to do with parents.
My father showed me George Carlin jamming in New York. When I was 16 years old, we watched that, and I could still hear him, Carlin, going, The rich people pay none of the taxes. They do none of the work. The middle class do all the work. They pay all the taxes. And the poor people, they're basically there just to scare the shit out of the middle class. They'll keep showing up at their fucking jobs. And we watched all that. And I was science fiction. It was like other people watch Star Wars. That was like my mind.
Your mind got blown.
I got
and
blown.
You were like, I am seeking out that knowledge.
And I'm sitting there with my dad, and my dad said, "Son, that's a communist."
Wow.
How about you? Because you're pretty hip too.
Thanks.
To all the bullshit.
Yeah, I'm a
Were your parents
realist.
Your parents are very nice.
My parents are very nice.
My wife's parents are Republican, and they're super nice. I just never talked politics.
My parents were very well. My dad came out of the 60s counterculture in a not obnoxious, hey man way. You know what I mean? He was very fuck Nixon. And fuck the war. And so.
Oh, good. So he was.
And he turned me on to all the. I mean, I grew up listening to Iron Butterfly and Jimi Hendrix.
Yours was music. See, Steve has a thing where he says, now there's no fucking counterculture. Where is the fucking counterculture?
I know what you're saying, but it's there. It's. I know what you're saying.
It's not visible.
Well, right, but good counterculture, in a sense, shouldn't be, and it always goes through waves. You know what I mean? Not that it shouldn't be, because that sounds elitist and exclusionary, but it's sometimes it percolates under, as opposed to the Nirvana explosion or something like that, where suddenly it's everywhere before becoming commodified or whatever,
right? Absorbed.
But like it's different. It takes different avenues in that there's some really interesting, not necessarily hip hop, but like beat oriented shit right now. There's a band called Lightning Bolt. All right, which you say that to an average person, they're, huh?
I don't know.
Right.
I'm thinking Flash. I love Barry Allen.
So Lightning Bolt is a duo that started playing warehouses in Brooklyn, and they basically they wear like crazy fucked up masks, and it's a drummer and a guitarist. And
they wear masks,
like weird wrestling masks and stuff, just weird masks to kind of remain anonymous, even though their names are out there. And it's just a duo, and they don't play on a stage. They set up on the floor, and it's this unique, totally. But their crowd is enormous, and it's strictly like a word. Like they're fairly well known in underground circles, but it's not a mainstream thing. But it is counterculture as a motherfucker,
right?
You know, so
are they singing about the power elites and all that shit? Why is it counterculture?
Well, it's counterculture in the sense that it's
not
art for the level of like Warhol level art
cool.
of like, and
cool. I love that, taking
away any rock star elements of what a popular band is. It's like fuck a stage, fuck a stage. I like a stage myself, but you know, like that communal.
It's like what you're saying is true. What I'm saying though, I think to say there's no counterculture, even if there is more violent and effective, because when I see like Sarah Silverman and Al Franken get on stage and tell everybody they should, we're rich liberals from the Northeast, and we come from New Hampshire, and it's this rich liberal thing that's like not coming apart fast enough for me. And so when I say there's no counterculture, of course there is a counterculture, as you're saying, but it's not like we haven't had a 60s yet. We're on the precipice of maybe having a
Occupy
60s.
Wall Street was happening, and they fucking
Until they added
squelched
drum
that.
circles. Until it turned into poetry rallies.
They just crushed it.
Or until Bloomberg swept everybody
They
out.
crushed
that
it
too.
They crushed it.
It was
police
Bloomberg.
crushing it.
There
was
was some
Bloomberg.
police
It was.
actions too, but it jumped the shark by the end. It was, it started off really angry, and then by the end, it's somebody with a bullhorn reciting Black Panther poetry, and it's a white guy. I'm going, shut the fuck up.
Right. So those people, there's a separation between those boutique liberals
That's a good
and the
term.
real
boutique,
and the
that's a
real
good term.
left,
Yeah.
which is I
The
think it's
real
all
left-
culminating in this Democratic Party
The
thing.
real
now.
left is angry, and that is the so-called Bernie bros, and people don't like people who aren't civil in their discourse.
Well, be fucking uncivil.
Right.
There's no. That's the thing about the Democrats. That now you're gonna get me worked up. 'Cause I try to stay out of this fray a lot.
Well, you're in it now.
Well,
and
I'm in
we've
it
been
now.
very good.
Well, here's the
we've
thing.
been very good on this,
On this
podcast.
yeah, this has been a very
We've been
unpolitical-
talking about the road. And the
Democrats-
road.
good old road stories.
Democrats start talking about decorum. Shut the fuck up and roll up your sleeves and have some
That's
balls
right.
and give it back. Give it back. You think
They're gonna burn
you
it
think
down before
they
they'll give
give
it
a
back.
fuck about decorum on the other side? They're eating us alive.
Well, corporate money makes everybody
sure
numb and
it's the
numb, and they're
be
bought.
the bigger person. Fuck that now,
Dude.
At this point in the game, get the fuck out. Sharpen your knives and go for.
Yeah,
This is the
exactly
thing I
right.
love about this election, the silver lining.
I can't wait.
Well,
to
the
hear this.
silver lining is, let's say Bloomberg, who has just bought him way, he's bought his
$400
way.
million
He's
spent.
bought his way onto the debates. He spent $400 million.
Yeah, so far.
He's worth $60 billion. Do you know $60 billion? It would be hard to spend $1 billion, wouldn't it?
For me or you?
Eddie would spend that just
I
in
would
clothes.
spend it quickly.
Hello,
Close.
Shreveport.
I want a white Shreveport.
I want designer vegan food delivered to my Motel 6.
Right, I would be pinching pennies otherwise. No, but what we might have, because the DNC, Democratic National Committee, they want to fuck Bernie.
Well, what's so transparent? It's exactly what happened when they had. You remember, I'm sure, in Nevada when they had the snafu where Hillary suddenly wasn't winning in Nevada, and suddenly, we need to recount and whatever. That whole thing that blew up, where it's like, you're just forcing the fucking vote. And I was not a Hillary fan. I voted for her, wasn't a fan. And I feel like they're doing that now. It's transparency on the part of the DNC where they're trying to force fucking Biden on you, whether this is what you want. And the people are speaking at the Bernie rallies and stuff. You can sense the momentum now, and you can sense the outrage and the pissed off people being aware.
As they should be.
And to their credit, for as much as I make fun of millennials for certain things, they are very passionate about the
He
stuff.
doesn't
and
like
they're-
millennials.
Well,
I love
I
them.
love them, though. I love that
well, you know what I'm
they're
saying?
doing
They
that.
are
I do.
very.
I agree.
They're very shrewd because they grew up with all this iPhone shit, and so they're very shrewd with social media and know how
they
to
are.
run circles around these old Republican dinosaurs or whatever. But the fact that even after the New Hampshire primary, it wasn't Bernie wins primary.
It was the other ones come close.
Pete had a great showing, and this, that. It's like, are you
unbelievable.
fucking kidding me? Like, yeah, but who won?
Amy Klobuchar had a great,
She finished a strong third.
strong
but who
third.
won? It's so that is really
Tonight
making
was
me
bad
angry.
news for Bernie.
What do you-
He won, but not by the margin.
Yeah. It's, so the transparency there of like the democracy of like, well, may the best candidate win, and then the machine being like, well, this is who. And I understand electability. I understand to a degree people going like, well, people hear socialism and they run for the hills, and that might cost us, and we can't let Trump get back in. Which I understand that argument. But the
I
transparency.
don't know what people are
of
afraid
which-
about socialism.
because the word just scares people. His dad talking about George
Well,
Carlin.
my dad,
you know what I mean?
dad
Like,
was a former lefty. who had been drafted to Vietnam and had become a right-winger.
How did he become a
because
right-winger?
It was his last gasp of individualism against my mother.
Okay. Yeah.
It was his last, like,
Sure.
you know, just before Bancini stopped talking in the Cuckoo's Nest. It was like my dad. It was like my father's last.
Bandini.
It was his last fucking.
Fantastic deep pull there, sir. Points for that.
Yeah.
Well, also, though, what's crazy is I understand a Reagan economics Republican. Like, I understand those people, but they're not here anymore.
Well, yeah, they are. Joe Biden.
Sure, fair enough. But like that's a Republican that I could understand, even if I disagreed with them on a lot of different things. I could understand them. The people now that are defending the Trump circus, I'm like, I do not understand you. And so I just don't understand you.
Well, here
it's
what this is what the point I wanted to make. If Bloomberg somehow buys his way into this election with the help of the Democratic National Committee and everybody who wants to stop, the populism of Bernie Sanders, it would be wild if one billionaire, Trump, was running against another billionaire, Bloomberg, and the class war is
It's
there
going to simmer
for
over
everybody.
simmer over the pot.
It's always been a class war. Americans bought the lie, and Carlin talks about this. Carlin's famous speech. I mean, his comedy where he goes
towards the end.
They
there.
call it
The American dream. That's because you got to be asleep to believe it.
right, and so people are bought into like, well, I want a part of the American dream. Doesn't exist anymore. Doesn't exist for many, many people. People, young people don't own houses anymore.
Well, the transparency and how the game is rigged with like the no witnesses in the impeachment, like anything like that, where it's so there's no, the concept that I grew up with of justice and the law is just like
It's because it's all coming apart.
Yeah,
it's really
why it's
disintegrating
coming
before
apart.
your eyes, and it's fragile. But I didn't realize how fucking fragile it was to see. Like I was like, Roger Stone's getting an actual prison sentence for a couple years. Oh, nope. Trump yelled a bunch and suddenly, no, that was an oversight on fucking what? You could just yell and suddenly it's just infuriating.
It's all part of the and this is how it's tethered to the culture. So to get back to the counterculture, this is how the centrist Democrat politics and the Bloomberg stuff is tethered. We here in Hollywood don't feel like Eddie and I, at least I can speak for Eddie, I think we don't feel like the form of entertainment, everything here that's happening is
in Hollywood.
Yes, I'm brain farting a little bit. Is anti-revolutionary. Everything is counter-revolutionary, meaning everything is. Why are you doing that? Why are you saying that on stage? Even if you're funny, you're not.
Well, it's L.A. and so stage time is tight, and you're wondering about who's watching you to get on the casting for.
Well, but
the Late Show
is the engine where all the pancakes get made.
Yeah.
So in the 60s and 70s and even in the 80s, there was a Wild West feeling in comedy and entertainment and culture. And the 80s was wild. There were all kinds of different personalities, and that was Reagan era time.
Was that Bill Hicks?
Hicks. I mean,
Hicks was 90s. Well, he died in 93.
but
so
he's
But
late
80s was his prime, right?
Right.
I don't know. I was 11, gentlemen.
Hicks. Yeah, Hicks was the 80s.
In the 80s, I was 48.
Were you really?
I kid. I don't know.
That's not how math works.
I just.
I was an English major, but I'm pretty sure that's not right. I don't know. I don't know.
Did you finish? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think I just burned out. I burned out on that.
I think that would be funny on a debate. Let me tell you something. In the 80s, we had Bill. Anyway.
Who wants a banana? And
Yeah. Who wants to? Can I have a banana?
Frozen banana.
I don't feel good.
Yeah.
Can I have a banana? No.
Well, that's another thing about traveling, though, too, is that you get out of. I feel like a lot of people that are super. Because I have a lot of friends that are modern socialists or whatever you want to call them that are huge on Twitter and stuff like that and very engaged and active, but they're almost all in fucking Brooklyn or LA or whatever. I'm like, not that there's anything wrong with that in terms of a perspective, because I tend to agree with a lot of what they're saying. But when you travel and do one-nighters in rural Oklahoma or wherever, you get to see all there's lots of fans that I have that I disagree with on their social media stuff a lot.
But they like your comedy.
But they like my comedy. So there's some common ground there. Not that I'm super outspoken political, but I also don't pull punches in terms
I
of.
find that people
you also
outside.
have to
I find that the people outside of LA are
Way better comedy
way
audiences.
better.
Well, sure. They're
You'll find
trained
out
different.
tonight. You're at the Comedy
the
Store
Comedy Store
tonight.
The Comedy
No,
Store
they're good crowds. Anyway, we have an ad to get to, and we're going to have JT read it. It's one ad. It's for Tosserman Tools.
Tosserman.
And they're a new ad. So, yeah.
All right. Tosserman Tools. You need a radio voice? Should I go into my morning? Tosserman Tools is a family business that has been making Christ-based construction equipment since 1987. Each of Tosserman Tools is embedded with a sliver of the Holy Cross that our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ died on so that you may have quality tools. When you're almost in time for Easter, when you are looking for tools that uphold Christian values as defined by a mix of discarded VHS tapes of disgraced televangelists and high doses of swamp gas, well, Tosserman's tools are a pretty good choice. Tosserman's tools are lovingly handcrafted in Swamp Bladder, Kentucky. Who books that? By Pa Tosserman and his beautiful family of captive sister wives. Every Tosserman tool comes with a hand-engraved John 3:16. God so loved the world that he called the police. Tosserman is a maniac. Why won't anyone help us? Tosserman Tools, proud sponsor of the and smiting wood into submission since 1987.
Nice job. And Tosserman Tools, thank you very much for getting on board here.
Yeah.
Written by Matt Rasamoto. And that's it for our show. You know, when my father came to this country, all he had was our magnificent Pepitone bone structure and a pocket full of podcasts. He didn't know when he was going to get to new episodes, so he just re-listened to the ones he had, and they were horrible. Every night I would fall asleep while Dad listened to Benito Mussolini's Cheese podcast. It's why I became a socialist and a vegan. So hit the goddamn like button already, and because you've been listening to us yammer for an hour, you might as well subscribe. As Mussolini said, quote, "It is blood which moves the wheels of history, but I wouldn't say no to a bit of sharp cheddar with a little honey on top." Our engineer is Emma Erdbrink, and our other engineer is Aaron Brungardt. Our producer, Matt Rasamoto. Leave a message at 424-262-0904. Email us at fanmail@peptalkspodcast.com. Donate at peptalkspodcast.com. I want to thank JT.
Thank you. Come see us on the road.
Yeah, we're going to be traveling. Tomorrow we're in Santa Clarita.
We are.
At
JTcomedy.com and EddiePepitone.com for dates.
Steve Lally.
Yeah.
And do you have any gigs?
No upcoming dates.
We got to take
I had a busy January.
We got to take you on the road. All right. So
Thanks, man.
that's it. And we'll talk to you next time. Bye everybody.